Hello guys, and my name is Trail. Welcome to my guide for Citadel of Insanity Expert Mode. Today we're going to be covering trash, bosses, and the secret chest as well. We'll be doing it from a tank's perspective, but I'll be covering bits and bobs of everything, heals, DPS, everything that you need to know about this dungeon. Okay, so we're going to start off with the first pull pack. This pack, basically, the one that you want to be aware of is the guy at the back. The Hydromancers will summon some extra adds that you can't see, but not very, not much to take into account. The guy at the back though, try not to engage on him because he has a huge hitbox. It will actually misplace you in the fight. You don't want to be misplaced and like out of the way because you might miss aggro on some of the mobs and they might jump onto some other members of the party. If that happens, then obviously you're looking at a wipe on the first pull. Other than that, very simple pull. Just get the sabs. If you've got rogues, it should be in sab spec for this. It shouldn't be a problem. Okay, this next pack is completely skippable, so you can skip it as so. If anybody does pull by going over the max range, just let them die, and they'll then reset the aggro and just rest them. It's pretty simple.
Excuse me, back into his dreamless
Okay, we're coming up to the first boss now. So this first boss is Glacius. He is a large giant ice crab. Now, Glacius at the start is vulnerable to all DPS and you'll do normal DPS. However, he will then cast Deep Ice Armor, and that will reduce all the party's DPS, and you will only be doing a fraction of what you did. Now, this is up to the tank to get rid of this. A pool will spawn with a fountain, as you can see just behind him here, and we start moving him in. The Glacius will also spawn frost elementals. Now, these elementals aren't anything to worry about at all. They're very little damage, and you can just keep them all. Basically, this fight is a tank check. If you can't clear this fight as a tank, and this is your first time running experts, then you probably shouldn't look at tanking anytime soon until you get a few more pieces of tank gear. Maybe craft some and then use armor amenders, textile amenders, etc. to upgrade that armor. You should be fine with full crafted armor on this boss. There shouldn't be a problem. As you can see, you can leave the ice golems, some of them, just into the party. They do very little damage, and it isn't anything to worry about if they do actually get into the party. As you can see on the left, the health bars barely flinch. Okay, so this part is just show you how to skip two packs. So we've got a pack on the right that you can't see in frame. We've just passed a pack on the left. It's just a rather simple skip. Okay, so this is one of the more important trashes that I need to discuss with you. So this is Nightmare Marauder, basically just a giant ugly looking thing. When you approach these first two, as you can see, there is a one behind this one. If you can stick all the way to the left, you will not pull that one, you can skip it entirely. However, these have an interrupt that you need to get. It's called Hydro Burst. If this isn't interrupted, it will kill members of your raid. So always look out for that.
That's not yours, is it?
Okay, next pack, you're going to see two ghosts here on the left and on the right. These will aggro the first person to attack them. They don't actually have an aggro table. They don't do a lot of damage, but it is very annoying for the healer if a DPS were to pull this. So just make sure it's the tank that aggroes this first and not a DPS. Going up to the second boss here, Crescifin. He's basically just a giant worm. Now, the interesting thing about Crescifin, and new to the Nightmare Tide expansion, is you don't need a tank for this. You only need to be DPS, and that is it. Now, for this to work, you will see on the floor a load of eggs. Now, when you break open these eggs, there is a grub inside of these eggs. Now, Crescent will stack a stacking debuff on you. When you reach a certain number of stacks that you deem is too much, you then eat a grub and it will erase all the stacks on you. Now, as you can see there, just broken egg open, you can see the grub inside. Now, Crescent himself has several mechanics. He has something called encasing, where he will pick a player or a pet and encase it for a certain amount of time. In this case, you will take dot damage. You won't be able to attack. You need to break out of it. Players can just simply use break freeze. Sometimes for pets, this is a death sentence, so they will not be able to attack and they will just die. The second mechanic is chitinous shielding, which absorbs a massive amount of damage. Now, it's interruptible, but only after a certain amount of damage is taken and absorbed by Crescent. So save your cooldowns and don't pop them on on chitinous shielding, as this will just negate your cooldowns. Just make sure that you use enough damage to get it into the interrupted state, and then interrupt and use your cooldowns as necessary. Again, the amount of stacks that you want to go for depends entirely on your healer, really, and how comfortable you are yourself. And I usually go for around 6 or 7, but most people usually go for about 4 or 5. If you are new to it, you've got a new healer, try not to stress them out and go for about 3 stacks. So this pack here, we've got an assassin. Now the assassin is the main difference here. It's one of the big trash mobs of the Citadel of Insanity. Basically, it will stun you at certain times during a fight. Now this is a problem, because if it does it straight away, you can lose aggro of the packs almost immediately. The stun can be cleansed, so maybe the healer can look out for that. If your healer's not looking out for it though, just make sure that you dial back a bit on the DPS if it's the case that the tank hasn't got full aggro as yet. Okay, now this pack in particular is a nasty one, because the stun happens, and because the Nightmare Marauders also need to be interrupted. If they happen at the same time, then the DPS need to be aware that they need to interrupt that then. Because if it doesn't get interrupted, like I said earlier, it will kill at least 2 people. If the tank doesn't pop a cooldown, it will kill them. So if the assassin stuns at the right time, this has the potential to wipe a raid. Okay. So we're coming up to the secret boss now. Now this is for the secret chest. I call it a boss because it's just a really, really hard mob. If you are new to tanking and you don't have a lot of armor or HP, don't tank this. Just move it away. Just kite it, move it in a circle, whatever you need to do. It does hit like a truck. As you can see, I do get some rather large shields, and they just wipe them out instantly with some spells. Don't tank it where he stands either, because you'll get ghosts that rise up, and unless your party is really quick thinking and get into the safe spots immediately, they will die pretty quickly. Tank him more to where we are tanking him now, or down the stairs from where you came.
May not be much, but take this as thanks for helping me defeat the...
Okay, so we're now on Skylar, who has 2 tactics on how you tank him. How you tank him depends entirely on your DPS. Now, basically, if your DPS is slightly lacking and it's not going to get him down in the move All or Nothing, before the end of All or Nothing you need to line of sight him. Now what you'll see in this is, as a rogue, I will use a home point and I will flash to it, and I will hide behind this tree here. There is another point where you can hide, which is behind a Dream Chamber, just in the field of view there, to the top right hand corner. Now you can hide behind that. Now if your DPS is enough, then you will just kill him through the All or Nothing. You'll get him to 0 health, and there won't be anything to it. You will literally just beat him that way. He won't do any damage through All or Nothing when it hits, as you're about to find out. So if you do it this way, it's just simple, all or nothing. Then he goes into his bile move, which paralyzes the tank, and then he will go into arrested contagion, and then he will go back into all or nothing and fuel nightmare portal. Now, arrested contagion in this, it's important that nobody moves throughout the entire of the fight. There is really no reason to move, but if you do move, the chances are you could have arrested contagion on you, which will kill you really very quickly if you move. Also, with regards to the line of sight technique for Skylar, if your party is lacking in DPS, you will get extra mechanics to the fight. He will throw out some extra moves if you are line of sighting him and letting all or nothing get interrupted by a line of sight. In this case, which you would have seen earlier in the video, he performs massive AoEs, once on the outside, once on the inside. These will kill the party very, very quickly. You have to be very, very on your feet at this point. Obviously, I did just say that arrested contagion can stop you from moving, and it will kill you if you keep moving, but at this point you shouldn't have it on you, and you won't be able to move out of these AoEs. It's a very demanding on the DPS fight this, which DPS aren't used to. It can go wrong quite a lot.
And capture the city? Please tell me.
Okay, so the next point, this is all on the tank. The tank is just going to run through. What he's going to do is just going to gather aggro of the ads. You don't heal him, you don't attack anything, just run behind the tank, and the tank will take all of the damage. And then at the top of the stairwell, at the point where you reach the top of this ramp, you will then be safe from the ads, and the tank can then die at any point past this. For me, I like to make it to the boss room, just because that's what I like to do, and then skip the story with the red orb. But yeah, just let the tank die and then res him. These guys that we're running from, they aren't quite tanky. They do have a lot of HP, and they can be a bit of a pain. So it is best just to skip them and let the tank die and all aggro fade. Okay, so here we are at the last boss, the Corrupted Conjurum. Now, basically what's going to happen is we're going to run him into some lights. Now, the DPS here doesn't need to attack Conjurum whatsoever. If you've got buffs that require you to damage, like Headshot for rogues or rangers DPS, then yeah, by all means go for it. It is just a case that Conjurum isn't the actual enemy you're trying to kill here. It's the corruption inside him, which spawns when you've removed stacks by putting him into the light here. So what I do in this is I set a home point at the start plinth where basically the light will appear. The light will appear in 3 points, in the top left hand corner, top right hand corner, and at the entrance to the boss room. As you can see here, this is just how you kill the boss. You just kill the corruptions. 1 or 2 is good. 3 would be fantastic. That's the ideal kind of amount you want to get per round. If your DPS is lacking, as a tank, just make sure you try and help with at least 1 going down. You want to try and take down 1 at least. Conjurum does do a lot of damage, and it's going to take even longer to kill him. He has something like 200 million HP or around that level, so it is a case that he's not the one you actually want to kill. You just want to get these lights and kill the corruptions. Now, the reason all the DPS and the healer is stacked on the barrels in the middle is because the tank will randomly let down an AoE that will grow from around the tank. If this touches the DPS or the healers, it will do a lot of damage. Even the tanks can't stand to stay in this AoE very long. The other AoE that he'll do is something that Conjurum casts on him. It'll cast a purple bubble. Anything in this purple bubble that touches him will die in just a few hits, and it is quite quick. It's not a slow pulse, it's a quick pulse that will hit every time it pulses. So we're coming up to the end of this boss now. Once you've killed all the corruptions, Conjurum will then come at you one more time, and then he will to return to his normal self. And that's the end of the boss battle. So that's my guide for Citadel of Insanity, guys. I hope you've liked it, and if you do like it, then just like, comment, subscribe. Well, I hope you all have fun running this, and thanks very much for listening.
All is well that ends well. Besides, we all want to.
No! Contra! Please! Don't!